Do you ever notice how many different kinds of plants there are in the world? Small plants that flower in the spring to large trees that live hundreds of years. Plants in the desert, plants in water, plants that grow in Alaska, to plants that grow in Central America. Did you know that there are over 300,000 vascular plants that grow in this world? And more are being described every year. Wait, who's in charge? Who is describing this biodiversity? And how do they do it? Let's find out.
Expertise is plant systematics, and I guess what I would say I'm working on becoming an expert in is systematic evolution of biodiversity in the bulrushes. And systematics do that. We describe biodiversity. But we don't just describe it, we describe it in all its different facets and its interactions, from the morphological to the molecular, and on lots of different scales, whether that's really broadly or down to what is the smallest unit within a population.
What is systematics?
So, biological systematics is the study of the evolutionary relationships among organisms. And they can be any organisms on the planet. If it's alive, you can study the evolutionary relationships among them. I try to test a number of different hypotheses involving the evolution of certain characters, be they morphological, behavioral, or ecological, as well as trying to understand their biogeographic relationships. So how did they originate, where did they originate, and then how did they distribute themselves to where they exist today?
So it's systematists who describe biodiversity in all levels, from molecules to organisms to groups of organisms. And they reveal evolutionary relationships and describe the discrete evolutionary units. What else is involved in the field of systematics?
The systematists that sort of are the natural historians that log and keep track of historical biodiversity as well. And so we are the ones accountable for the vouchering of specimens and the maintaining of those specimens.
CMU herbarium employees permanently apply specimens to archival paper. They will be stored in the herbarium for others to look at for many years to come. It is necessary that herbarium specimens contain detailed collection and location information, as well as accession numbers. Systematists determine evolutionary relationships. They define discrete evolutionary units that are unique to our world and help the rest of the world be able to understand them. They define the boundaries that separate one species from another, explain the key characters that can be used to find them, give them an official name that can be understood in any place on the planet, and organize all the information about them and the groups they are in so other scientists can do more research. The field of systematics has a vast history of existing knowledge, terminology, and descriptive vocabulary for characters and character states. Systematists are scientists, and their research is a rigorous, freestanding discipline within the biological sciences.
So we're in a molecular lab, and we've taken our DNA from the plants that we're studying, and we're taking a small sequence of that DNA, and we're on the computer here lining up the sequence for each species and trying to see how the different species relate to each other and where they differ. I can take that genetic information and compare it with morphological information or any other data set, and I can start to have a solid line of evidence of why certain species are related to each other. In the world of science and research, plant systematics is essential for understanding the natural world. In fact, all of conservation biology is dependent on systematic study. How can you conserve that which you do not know exists?
I think it's important to understand the world in general around you. I think there are those that would try to argue that understanding evolutionary relationships is esoteric, it doesn't impact them largely, but only through understanding a little bit about where we come from and how we got here will definitely inform us in terms of where we're going.
Every science is incremental. Every science is a tiny little part. And we're in a biodiversity crisis, even NSF acknowledges the incredible need to have and maintain natural history collections and to describe biodiversity, and we're the people who do it. And that's awesome.